Tonight, imagine a country so stupid it pays massive sums of money to people who illegally cross its border. Well, you live in that country, and according to the Wall Street Journal, the Biden administration is in talks to offer immigrant families that were separated during the Trump administration around $450,000 per person in compensation. Now, when this popped up on my Twitter feed this afternoon, I was certain that it was a Babylon Bee satirical tweet. It's not. Satire has now become reality. Our country is ridiculous. According to the Journal, most cases involve a parent and child, which would mean nearly $1 million. Why? Because under the Trump administration, DHS separated families as part of a way to stop the type of insanity we're seeing at our border right now. They arrested parents, and kids can't go with parents when they get arrested. That actually worked, but because the method was harsh, which unfortunately in this situation it has to be, look at the border right now, here we are. Lawsuits filed on behalf of parents and the children say the government subjected them to lasting psychological trauma, including anxiety, a fear of strangers, and nightmares. The lawsuits seek a range of payouts, with the average demand being roughly $3.4 million per family. $3.4 million per family. For people who walked right across a safe third country to get to the richest nation possible. And you have to admit, illegally crossing into this country is an absolutely brilliant idea. We've made it probably the best idea these people have ever made. And it's about to pay off better than any of these people could have ever dreamed if this happens. The ACLU is one of the key agencies leading the charge here with this, and according to the Wall Street Journal, in fact, it's American lawyers that devised all of this, as you know. The ACLU has identified about 5,500 kids separated at the border. As a result, the total potential payout could be $1 billion or more. $1 billion to illegal migrants claiming asylum, even though they're not asylum seekers. Your government could not care less about you or your money. We certainly know that now. This whole idea was drummed up, of course, when Biden took office. Politicians dramatizing border policy, scoring political points off this, making comments like this.
We're going to work to undo the moral and national shame of the previous administration that literally, not figuratively, ripped children from the arms of their families, their mothers and fathers at the border, and with no plan, none whatsoever, to reunify the children who are still in custody and their parents.
Everything's better now, with huge swaths of people coming up and being raped by coyotes. It's all better now. There's no more pain. It's all just a rainbow at the border now. A national shame is what he called it. The national shame is the president and the clueless pandering of this administration. And by the way, again, we've showed it to you multiple times. Just Google Joe Biden's immigration positions from about 15 years ago. He's so welcoming now. He's a liar. It's really despicable. It's a tough problem we have at the border. It needs a tough solution. And millions of people illegally storming your border is a very tough problem. Now, again, none of these people are asylum seekers. We know that. None. The definition of that term has been softened dramatically by the left to basically encompass anybody that's just seeking a better life. It's a total crock. That's not an asylum seeker. Here's a reality check for the left wing. 90% of the world is seeking a better life and a better country to live in. Asylum is people escaping persecution or imminent death. A true asylum seeker runs from their home to the first place they can find that doesn't threaten their lives. In this case, that would be Mexico. But of course, that's not nice enough, and these aren't asylum seekers. And Mexico certainly wouldn't pay you $1 million after they arrest you for crossing their border illegally. No, they wouldn't do that. They're not as stupid as we are. Republicans, of course, are not happy about this. I don't know how anybody's happy about this. I don't know what the approval rating on this would be. It's got to be 2%. Montana Senator Steve Daines said he would introduce an amendment to the upcoming defense policy bill to derail this plan, tweeting, "This is insane." While Montanans are struggling to put gas in their tank and food on the table, Biden is planning to pay illegal immigrants hundreds of thousands of dollars. Well said. Senator Tom Cotton releasing a statement saying it would be unthinkable to pay damages to a burglar who broke into your home for the psychological trauma they endured during the crime. And yet the Biden administration wants to reward migrants who illegally entered our country with up to $450,000 each for just that reason. By the way, how much are these people suing the coyotes that rape all the women on their way through Mexico? Any lawsuits there? No. Meanwhile, our border is a complete and utter joke. The enforcement has been decimated. Immigration arrests fell to the lowest level in more than a decade during fiscal 2021, ICE data shows from the Washington Post. Even with a flood of migrants, yes, it is a joke. And this new payment plan is the punchline of that joke. Now think about what happens to migration coming out of Central America when Central American families hear about the thousands of brand new lottery winners that tried to get in last year, in the last couple years. Imagine a family living in El Salvador on about $2 a day. Hearing that families are getting nearly $1 million because the parents were arrested and the kids had to be held in a different facility. That's a pretty sweet deal, which is, by the way, what happens when any parent is arrested for any crime. You get separated from your kids. There's a caravan en route right now, more than 3,000 migrants making their way from Central America, South America, Haitians as well, of course. They're doing anything to get in. Here we can see migrants hiding in the barrel of a cement truck. They're also being found in brand new cars that are being transported into the United States. There they are. Now, liberals won't allow any kind of common sense policy. They won't allow a wall. You can't separate families as a deterrent. You really can't do anything. So what we're seeing for the last 9 months is our new border. What we've seen from the Biden team is what America is now. This is what we are. If you want to come, don't bother applying anymore. Don't waste your time at NBC's. Just go to northern Mexico and walk in. And if our agents stress you out, we are ready and waiting with a $1 million check. Welcome to America. Even more enraging is so much of this is just politics. The Biden team is wasting your money as just a new way to slander Trump, which is what this was all about. So that they can say in 2024, when Trump probably runs again, that fascist Trump was so awful that we had to pay out $1 billion to families that he destroyed. Dramatizing everything, of course. Nearly $1 million per family. For gaming our immigration laws, posing as asylum seekers, and entering a country illegally. What a payday. There is nothing sustainable about the way these people want to run your country. Are you humiliated yet? We should be. Imagine what the rest of the world thinks when they see stories like this. How pathetic this country has become. What a joke.
Hey, I'm Rob Finnerty. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, we're real news for real people.